And welcome to the program, Charles Moscowitz. I'm doing a series of interviews with Republican congressional candidates across the country, with the goal of finding out why they're running, how they're doing, what we can do to help to take back the U.S. House of Representatives for Republicans this year. I think it's a very important and necessary thing to do in terms of getting anything forward and getting anything done and moving forward with President Trump's laudable agenda, in my opinion. And my guest here is Jeff Denaro. Jeff is running for the first congressional district of New Hampshire. Jeff, thanks for joining me today.
Sure, thank you very much.
So, Jeff, first of all, talk a little bit about yourself and your background. What brought you into politics?
Well, I'm a construction worker out of Boston, Massachusetts. I come to the conclusion that the opioid epidemic is not solving itself. So initially, that's why I got into politics.
Okay, and you're running as a Republican in New Hampshire, which is the Seacoast District, Portsmouth, and the eastern part of the state. And your issue is the opioid epidemic, which is a pretty big problem, especially in New Hampshire. What can be done in terms of public policy and legislation to help reduce this problem?
Well, I believe we need to try again. I believe if we, instead of a 30-day rehab situation where private companies are making profit off the addicted in New Hampshire or all around the country, I think we need a different model, whereas the addicted go into a 1 year, almost like a commune type situation where there's no additional drugs like methadone or Suboxone, just basically time to rest, heal, and but it's going to be low cost. We're spending $500 billion on this over $500 billion per year on this epidemic, and most of it is treating and several factors, but treatment alone is huge and is putting a huge drain on our insurance companies, and so everybody's insurance is going up so high. Well, one of the reasons.
No, I mean it's extremely expensive, and it's not helping people get off opium or opioids. I mean, basically, things like, as you say, minoxidil, and they're just other drugs, and they keep people addicted, and they string them along. And
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that, and it's costing not just the system the huge amounts of money, but it's hurting people, and it's not helping them.
Yeah, it's hurting people. Problem. It's hurting families.
Of course. And it puts people, and then of course a lot of people end up resorting to crime, and then you have the prison population increase, which is something that I think President Trump has taken steps to address, at least slightly, in terms of the First Step prison reform, which resulted in about 10,000 prisoners who should never have been in prison in the first place, released. So, but your idea of creating like a kind of a camp situation, it's a brilliant and innovative idea.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it takes people out of the atmosphere where they're going to be attempted to take the drug, or it'll be available, and where they might commit crime. It basically puts them in a barrack situation for a year where they can rehabilitate themselves. Maybe there could be work associated with that. It could be very similar to FDR's CCC program that built the Cape Cod Canal and the Cape Cod bridges in 3 years. It's amazing, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's entirely plausible. It's it's a very good and smart use of resources inexpensively, and it's one that can pay off economically in terms of people actually doing public works and projects, and that people will have a chance to get their life together and get themselves straight, and then
get their families back together.
Absolutely. I mean, you do something that has production and meaning for a year, you get healthy, and then you're able to come back into society and be a healthy and productive person.
Sure.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and I applaud you for bringing it up. I think it is something that should be taken up by Congress. So to my way of thinking, you're on the right track as a candidate for Congress. And what you're doing as a candidate is what all candidates should do. You're bringing up a couple of issues, in this case, this one issue, that you want to bring to the public sphere as an issue of discussion. Whether or not you win, you're going to be able to do that by doing media, by running, by promoting this, and that introduces the idea. So I really think that's the best example of a citizen politician running on an issue to bring something up that could actually result in a positive change.
Well, thank you very much.
What do you think?
And just to consider this also, 50% of all major crime in this country is attributed to the opioid epidemic also. So
Exactly.
if we can fix the opioid epidemic, crime would be diminished by 50%.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the benefits are huge for everyone.
Oh, huge. Absolutely huge, yeah.
Not just the addicted, but everyone else.
Yep.
For sure.
The children and the grandparents that are watching the children from these delinquent parents. Another issue is just the national debt, and the opioid epidemic comes right into it. If we can save over $500 billion per year on the opioid epidemic, and with the healthcare system, we're wasting over $750 billion on healthcare between waste, fraud, and mismanagement. And then also we have immigration reform, which President Trump is doing a fantastic job. We could be saving another $200 billion per year on that. So if we could save over $1 trillion per year, we could start bringing back our national debt.
No, I mean, that's a good, solid conservative issue. Fiscal management and oversight. That's what Congress is supposed to do. That's Congress, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution says that Congress is the money source. It creates the spending. And so we want to have congressmen in there who are, going to be fiscally conservative, whether you're liberal or conservative. You don't want to, the Congress is like a family. It's the national family. You don't want to overextend your budget. You want to work within your budget and not waste money on things and programs that don't work. So, those are all good, solid programs. And I think that, they would resonate with your district. Now, Jeff Denaro, you are a candidate for the 1st Congressional District. Are you putting together any kind of a field organization over there to reach voters and to get to people and ask for their vote?
Virtually just on Facebook, so virtual methods, going to a couple of Republican outings and such. But as far as, it's tough in the age of COVID.
Well, the COVID, yeah. I mean, we're all stuck inside. I mean, that's right. But, I mean, the real secret sauce of winning office is to connect with people. And in a congressional race, you can do that without much money, but with a little discipline in terms of calling people, asking people to vote for you, asking people to contribute, asking people to get out to the polls. And but it takes just that. You have to get on the phone and ask people. You have to get a list of Republicans in your district. And the successful politicians are the ones who make 50, 60 phone calls a day. Look at it as like you're selling life insurance, I mean, the success, I'm speaking as a former life insurance salesman who wasn't successful. But, the secret is to put together a pipeline and make the phone calls every single day, a list of phone calls, no matter what, whether they pick up the phone or not, and ask people for help, ask people for your vote. Every politician that's successful does this, including the president. Obama did it. Trump does it. Everyone in Congress. Across the street from the U.S. Congress, there are these nerve centers, both for Democrats and Republicans, the Democratic National Committee or the Republican National Committee, and congressmen go over there a couple of times a week, and they sit in a cubicle and they make calls. That's what you do. Everyone, the president does it. So my advice to you is to make a list of calls and get on the phone and call people and ask them for help. That's how you're going to win.
Very good.
Especially in this time, as you say, because you can't go out and meet people face to face. So good. I mean, it sounds like you're on the right path over there. Are you a
Trying.
supporter of Donald Trump?
Yeah, very big supporter of Donald Trump. I applaud so much of his agenda.
You
You
know, I
know,
think he's going to be at the Verizon Center in Manchester, I think tomorrow.
really,
Isn't that
I
isn't
I
that
know he's
right?
going to be in Portsmouth, New Hampshire
Oh,
on
Portsmouth?
Saturday.
Okay. So he's going to be in Portsmouth, your district.
Yes.
Have you
Yep.
contacted the campaign and asked to be introduced?
He has his two front runners, and so that won't be happening. But
Okay.
I will be there though.
Yeah, be there. Ask if they can recognize you from the floor, because you are a candidate, and that helps. And work the room.
Yep.
It's focus on the race. I mean, I don't know. My suggestion is forget about your opponents. Just focus on your race.
Sure.
And you've got some issues. Knock them out of the ballpark.
Oh, thank you.
So, best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
What else can you tell us in this brief time?
Let's see. Just right back to the national debt. I mean, so much can go back to the national debt and the programs that we need to. If we don't fix our national debt, I mean, we're in deep now with over $26 trillion.
Oh yeah.
So we really need to balance the budget. But there's some other social issues like gun reform. I know it's a big one, and it's nobody wants to touch the Second Amendment, and I understand that, and we can do that in ways that don't affect the Second Amendment, but where people are still, I mean, right now, over the last few weekends, with the protesting and the shootings and the killings in Chicago and Philly and Baltimore, and we need to see what we can do about some sort of, maybe not gun reform, but gun responsibility, and take back our streets.
Yeah.
Never mind the protesters and how about the governors and the mayors of these cities and states that are allowing protesters to take down monuments. It's sickening.
It is. But just want to touch a little bit on the question of gun rights. And I mean,
Sure.
We want to support the Second Amendment, but at the same time, I don't know if it's getting into a controversy, but I would suggest that it's not a bad idea to have some background check for people who purchase a gun, just to make sure that they've got, the psychological testing maybe, or, in the same way that we undergo, we have to take a driving test to get a license.
Sure.
I mean, I would think that to have a gun, it's your right, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of training, and that you know how to use it properly and take care of it properly,
right?
And that you don't have a criminal background, So I don't know where you are on that, but and
well, there is background checks, but there's quite a few loopholes, as we know.
Yeah. Maybe I'm being a Boston liberal here. I don't know, but because I am a supporter of the Second Amendment.
Yeah,
and I
me
do
too.
think that a well-armed, law-abiding citizenry is a great vehicle for peace and for security, and for maintaining a balance between the citizen and a government that might become too tyrannical. So but at the same time, I want to make sure that people are properly trained, and that they know how to use it, properly.
Absolutely.
So anyway, but you sound like you tend to be a fiscal conservative, maybe a moderate on social issues. I mean, I think that's a classic New England Republican. So how can people reach your campaign? How can they get involved? How can they help?
Facebook, and so Jeff Denaro, or Jeff D at, what is it again? Jeff D at congress.com. Jeff D.
Jeff D at congress.com, and that's on Facebook.
Correct. It is on Facebook and on the World Wide Web.
Good. Well, thanks for joining me. I mean, take advantage of all this incredible free media in the social media sphere. Doing this program is a step in that direction. Sending this, once I post this up on YouTube, and I'll send you a link to it, you can then send that out to people. You can do other programs. There's an enormous amount of free media out there online that you can reach, and even to host your own YouTube show. It's great. That's what I'm doing.
Well, very good. Thank you very much for having me, Charles.
All right, Jeff Denaro, thanks so much for joining me, and good luck to you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Take care.